Good day, everyone, and welcome. Today we're talking about a fascinating topic. It's called The Art of Fasting. This is a guide for the hungry. So we're going to take a step by step on what exactly is this fasting all about anyhow. Now, with the art of fasting, we're going to think about why would I bother fasting? How do I fast? And really, where does this lead me? So what does fasting do for us? I mean, shouldn't I just eat stuff instead? What exactly is this all about? It seems so strange because often we're encouraged to consume, but it's very rare we hear to cease from consuming. So, what exactly does this mean to fast? So, we start with as our first questions: why fast? So, if someone were to ask you, what's the whole point? Why would anyone bother fasting? And there's a few answers that could be given, but the first and foremost would be this: it's because humans are composite creatures. And what does that mean? Humans are composite creatures. Humans have a body, but also a soul. So, in other words, you're not just a collocation of molecules walking and bouncing around upon this planet Earth, but rather you're more than just a bunch of atoms that are coalesced together. You have also a soul, which is known as a mind or a consciousness. So there's an immaterial aspect to your being. In other words, you're not just a physical being, but you also have something immaterial, an immaterial aspect to you. Now, think of it this way. What's the difference between fasting and dieting? Well, dieting is done for looks. Fasting, on the other hand, is done for the thing that you can't see, your consciousness or your mind. Or in other words, in theology, we call this a soul. All right. So now, how does this all work? Or how do we know we even have a soul? Well, that's a good question. Now, here, most people, if you ask them, do you have a soul? They'll respond, well, I think so. Sure, I do. Okay, then they ask, well, how do you know that? There, they might have a little more trouble answering. There's a few reasons we can give. We don't have time to get into all this today, but here's one answer: is mystical experiences. So humans have mystical experiences. They have throughout the ages. They continue today, and this is strong evidence that we have more than just a body. We also have near-death experiences. So people who have had a heart stop, brains cease from functioning, yet they're still able to observe things which are going around the world, verifiable evidence, verifiable accounts of what they observe, even though their heart is not working and their brain is not working, which strongly suggests that we're more than just our bodies. Also, there's other reasons why we have a soul. If you believe in the existence of free will, squares, and truth, all that is contingent upon us having souls, or at least the realm of the metaphysical, which is what souls are. They're not something that are physical, they're metaphysical, which means beyond the physical. More on free will, squares, and truth another time. But for now, what we're saying is the reason why we fast is because we have a body and a soul. And if that is the case, then I need to train not just my body, but my soul as well, both. All right. So, how then does fasting help someone who has both a body and a soul? Well, fasting is a great intersection between the physical and the supernatural, or in other words, between the body and the soul. Now, why is that? Because fasting is a very physical thing in the sense that it begins with the physical, going without food, for instance, or some pleasure. So, in other words, this involves restraint. And so that aspect of our rationality, our mind, our consciousness has to become operative, has to kick into action and tell our impulses that are driving us, hang on a second, not right now. Or, yeah, but no, slow down. Yeah, sorry. So that's a training. It's a training ground, really, which our soul exercises. And that's what it is. It's giving exercise to our self and to our souls, that immaterial aspect of our being. It also involves other things that we love, like discipline and self-control. So, in other words, fasting helps us remember who's in control, not just our impulses or appetites, or that tiny corner of our brains demanding to be fed cinematographic entertainment. And this brings about a clarity in life, because life is often unclear and confusing. So, fasting helps us to see better, plus, it gets our soul in shape. Now, let me give you a quick example. One type of fasting I do is eating only 3 times a day. Sounds easy, but try it. It's not so easy because there are all these moments where my stomach is saying, please, please, won't you send something down here? It's a continual battle, not all day, but enough times in a day. But let's say I'm successful. I'm all practiced up and I win each time. I only eat 3 times a day. Then me, or my consciousness, my mind, my soul, is in better shape than it was yesterday. And well, let's say there's a totally different situation where I'm just hanging out, minding my own business, and suddenly my sister, out of nowhere, says something really unnerving, like she starts making fun of my hair. Well, there's this part of me that just might want to become unhinged and make fun of her hair right back in her face. And, I mean, as difficult as that is, especially, because she doesn't smile that often. Or it could be that I'm just driving along the freeway, minding my own business, and when a driver cuts me off, and there's part of me that just might want to lose it and cut that driver off in revenge. Not that I've done something like that recently, but if I'm practiced up on denying my immediate impulses, I can better evaluate the situation. I'm actually more in control. Now, some people think freedom means doing what you want in the impulsive sense. I just get this impulse and I follow it because I'm free. Now, I might suggest that's not actually true freedom. That's being led about by your impulses. Freedom means having the power to control yourself in a situation. Once I can step back and say, that guy who cut me off, well, he's actually a new driver, and remember how you used to drive when you were that age? Or conversely, thinking back to the situation with my sister, I might remind myself, my sister's actually a little unhinged herself, in all likelihood jealous of my luscious beard. That's why she's playing this game, but I'm not joining in. And that is true power. That's being in control. Freedom means having the power to control yourself in a situation. And now, why would we want that? That's a legitimate question. Some people might say, hey, I just want to follow my impulses. I just want that animal instinct to guide my life. Less thinking, and on some days, that might actually sound appealing. The short answer is this: you're made for more than that, both from an evolutionary and a theological or metaphysical point of view. So what that means is, sure, you're a biological being, but you're better than the average animal. Humans aren't your average animal. And theologically speaking, or metaphysically speaking, you're a child of God. Now, think of it this way. We're human beings, meaning we don't have a leash called instinct leading us around all the time. So in curbing our impulses and appetites, we actually become more free to resist impulsive behavior, free to choose good, free to choose the highest good for others, which is the definition of love, and exactly the point why Christ came to earth. So in the end, fasting gets us a step closer to heaven. Now, here's another way of looking at it. Think of your strategy for navigating life. What is your strategy for navigating life? Now, clearly, the optimal strategy in life isn't to be led about by our impulses. And now, what I would suggest is rather, it's to situate ourselves in relation to the highest good. So to situate ourselves in relation to the highest good. So in other words, what that means is to situate yourself is key to navigating the waters of life. Just like sailors long ago would situate themselves by looking up at the stars to figure out where exactly they're heading on the seas. Well, that's how we can get through this mess of life as well, by situating ourselves to the highest conceivable good. Theologians call this keeping our eyes fixed on heaven. But whatever the highest good is for you, why wouldn't you try to strive towards it? And fasting gets us closer there.